So I'm here to talk about my favorite gear, as well as the ways that I make documenting my life as easy as possible. So I'll give my tips and gear that I use to document my life and give your home videos a bit more of a cinematic feel. And remember, when it comes to art, it's not about thinking something up, it's about documenting something down. And my setup might be different from others, but the thing I want you to remember is that constraints are key to this. Keeping it simple is the best way forward. More isn't better. I feel more creative when I have constraints around me. So typically I film on the streets of Paris, but I also film at home, and the video gear that I use is perfect for both. Kind of run and gun, as well as setting it up for a studio shot in a more controlled environment. And this setup is extremely streamlined. And so I'm gonna give you my tips, as well as advice on where you should spend your money first. So here's where I spent my money. I didn't buy a camera first. I realized that audio is the most important thing for your videos. Mainly, if you're gonna make videos for YouTube, if the audio is bad, people are gonna click off your video immediately. The first investment I made was upgrading my audio, and I was using something called a shotgun mic. It's a tiny little thing. Let me show you. It was something like this, and the Dead Cat, which is a rather rude name for it, makes it look big, but this shotgun microphone is only this big, and this sits on top of your microphone, so it works when it's pointed at you, but if it's facing the wrong direction, it doesn't work that well. It just means that I can only get shots like this that are wide angle, which work, but you know, they're not ideal for cinematography style. The biggest upgrade in audio that I made was buying the DJI wireless mic system, and there's a little microphone right in here. I bet you can hear me. That allows me to wirelessly transmit audio back to the camera. So it means that I can get a whole wide variety of shots now. I can set up my camera far away, and then I can walk towards camera and get a whole new wider variety of shots, knowing that the audio is going to be crisp and clear based on this wireless mic system. It opens up a completely new creative outlet for shots. It changes the game and allows me to set up static shots and walk in and out of frame. And the system is great. It's light, it's easy to use, everything kind of syncs up together. It kind of has a similar system to the AirPods where the case is the charger, and inside are the wireless packs. I'm using them right now, but the other one of these is kind of strapped right here. And it's nothing, you wouldn't even notice it. Little clip on the back, dead easy. And the receiver sits on top of my camera, which brings me nicely onto the camera itself. I use a Lumix S5, the Mark I version, and this camera is amazing. I picked it because it was one of the best value for money in the market. It's got 4K, 120 frames per second in 1080p, but it still looks really good. The V-Log color profile to work with is amazing. The color science inside the camera is absolutely phenomenal. It looks incredibly cinematic. And so I shoot on V-Log, and when you import the footage into DaVinci or Final Cut, the footage looks quite black and white, but when you put a converter on it, a lot of this is fancy cinematography talk, but when you put a converter on it, you're able to basically push the colors exactly how you want, and you can have this incredible dynamic range. The blacks are blacker, the whites are whiter, and all the hues and colors in between can be manipulated however you want. It just looks incredibly cinematic. The only downside of this camera has been the autofocus. It's a contrast detect autofocus, which basically means it looks at the pixels that are black and white and tries to find a focus in between. That's my limited understanding of it. Long story short, it's not the best at finding you, the subject in the frame. If you're moving too close in front of it or too far back, it's hunting. It's trying to find where you are. Now, the Mark II version of this has had a considerable upgrade. It is a phase detect autofocus, which is similar to the Sony. So I think that'll be my next upgrade so that I can feel more confident in the shots where I'm walking towards camera with my wireless mic, knowing that the autofocus is detecting me as I'm walking through and it's not focused on some foreground element. Everything else, absolutely phenomenal, super easy to use. Moving swiftly along to the last item here, which is the least sexy, but probably the most important one, which is pen and paper, a journal and a pen. Doesn't matter what type you use, doesn't matter the pen, the cheaper the better, something that's quick and around you, but something that you could carry on you most days. And the thing to remember here is just jotting down your thoughts, getting your mind out on paper is so incredibly important. The process of writing slows your thinking down to writing down the most important things and really clarifies what tasks you want to work on, where your priorities are. And B, in the grander scheme of life, it's so wonderful to have a journal of your life, to look back and be able to have a crystal clear memories of a certain snapshot in time is such a gift to your future self. This is like 3 birds with 1 stone, right? Jotting down my ideas helps me be creative. It documents my life and it stops the rumination inside my mind just to prioritize what are my next tasks, what kind of projects do I want to work on. Gets thoughts out of my mind and out onto paper where I can see them clearly. Now, when I first started journaling, it felt quite surface level. I didn't feel like I was diving deep. And where that all changed was with a workbook called The Artist's Way. Now, this book has been incredibly important, mainly for its prompts, the questions and the exercises that it asks you. So those are kind of all my thoughts on how I journal, how I document my life, the tools, the tricks that I use. So if any of this helped, give a like, leave a comment, and I'll chat to you guys in a video soon. Peace.